anything now?
Doesn't look like it. Hold on a sec. Look. Cam 1, Cam 2, Cam 3. Yeah, I'm not getting anything right now. There we go.
You getting that? It's all messed up, but it's gonna work.
What'd you do to convince him to buy $2,000 level?
Okay, so now you should have.
Then you went in on that end?
What's that?
You plugged the new cable in on that end, huh?
Yeah, I don't know.
So our next problem is the audio. So how would I get the audio feed for here? Because I'm using the internal microphone on the laptop. Yeah. Oh boy. I mean, I have.
Can that Rode mic plug into there?
Yeah, I have all the cables.
Can you cut back and forth to see if that camera's working? This is great.
That's not doing anything. Yep, there we go. Cam 3. That's working.
I don't think you're supposed to use that switcher, but whatever. Now we gotta worry about audio.
Alright, where's that Rode mic?
The lavalier?
Huh?
What mic?
The Rode mic.
What is that?
I
Sorry.
brought 2 of them down yesterday. Are they in that bag?
The Rode mics?
Yeah.
No, I didn't bring them down.
Okay, which mic do we have?
I didn't bring any mic. Yeah.
Is that not, are they going to be good enough time?
No.
Yeah. I have the adapter, the 1/4-inch adapter, or whatever.
That goes into there?
Yeah, I have that adapter.
And you can get the audio from there going?
Yeah,
Did you have audio from the camera?
Where's that cable?
No, I can't. Because the SDI cuts it out.
Where's the cable?
It should be in the box.
Push in, no empty seats. No empty seats. Push all the way in.
Look at it. Look, they're just like turning around and staring at the camera.
Oh, so you have it. We can just put any kind of mic in here.
Right, yeah. I just don't know what we have down here. think we're just gonna get the road mic and then just have it pick up whatever it can, you know?
Yeah, I don't understand why this isn't working. So right now 3 is live.
Yes.
What if you change 1 to live in there?
It's on
One
there.
is change 3 to live. Oh no, it's just doing it. Okay.
Spinning one, air climbs, that's all I I got a $30 office chair. I'm like, it goes up, it goes down, it's fine. It spins around, that's all I need.
I'm gonna let the presenter know that there's only one camera now.
Okay. How do I get out? Because those doors will be out. Oh, okay. Alright.
What?
He was able to hear the audio very clearly through the camera.
Oh, really?
That's what Manny just said. And then whatever we did, undo it because he can't hear it.
Okay, I know what I did.
Okay, good.
So he said it was very clear though.
Oh really?
I just turned that down.
All right, let me call
Good
back.
morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being seated and we're talking about
No, we were talking about the AV position. And now we're back.
Okay, thank you. Please join me in welcoming the class of 225 class president, Madison Rizzuto.
Okay, so is it clear and you can hear what's going on? Okay, perfect. You can hear it. Alright. I'm gonna watch live stream.
Not many people are living up to their full potential these days. Sadly, most people have core beliefs that stifle their growth and create a self-negative attitude. From the moment Dan was born, he has had many reasons to have a self-negative attitude. He had a rough entry into this world. He was born deaf, mute, into poverty, and was constantly abused by an angry alcoholic father with many mental health problems. Dan has a lot of reasons to hide from the world, but he refuses to. He doesn't let life challenges dictate his path. As an undersized boy, Dan eventually became a 2-time wrestling state champion, 2-time junior Olympian wrestler, and twice the coach of the junior Olympic wrestling team. Dan is also a double veteran of the Army and Air Force, with the undefeated push-up champ for 7 consecutive years. As an undereducated boy, Dan eventually became a real student where he made the Dean's List in college, completed 14 years of college, and earned 7 degrees. Dan speaks on stages all over the place and has been on several of the world's top 10 podcasts, and has been in or on magazines, newspapers, radio, and television hundreds of times. Dan has also written more than 30 books, including his bestseller, The Storm. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dan Blanchard.
Thank you, and a wonderful introduction. It's funny, when I first heard like one of those introductions, I go, wow, I wonder what that guy is. He sounds pretty cool. And I'm like, oh, it's me? Imagine that, huh? But I'm happy to be here in front of you all. Southington High School is a great school, great students here. I have a master's in the future, coach, athlete, coming in now to some of these doors. So I'm really excited to be here today to be your speaker. I'm going to speak a little bit about my life and a little bit about my book, The Storm. So let's get started. All right. So the doctors told my mom, if you have this baby, it will kill you. My mom didn't know what to do. My dad didn't know what to do. but she wanted that baby. And the doctor said, you have this baby, it will hurt. So my mom, unselfishly, chose to have me. And here I am. I'm here all these years later. All these years later. And guess what? The doctors were wrong. My mom and myself, we made up the hospital line. So like my granddad used to always say, don't let somebody tell you what you can't do. I mean, you're here for a reason, and not a season. You're here for a reason. So do not let the cognitive misers steer your thinking. So your job is to weather the ups and downs, the seasons of your life, and not give up. Not give in, not give up. And you're here to find your reason. And what is your reason for being here? Every one of us has a reason for being here. And my granddad used to always say, never let anybody tell you that something's impossible. Because when you break down the word impossible, it basically is, I am possible. I'm possible, you're possible, we're all possible. All right? So don't let these cognitive misers steal your thinking. You're to do your own thinking. And cognition is hard. It's a lot of work to do cognition, to do your own thinking, and not let somebody else do the thinking for you. All right? But that's your job. That's what you're here for. That's what you're to do. And if you do that, you can overcome all sorts of things in life, like I did. All right? And then once you get your thinking, and you own your thinking, and you say, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm not going to let anybody tell me what I can't do. All right? Then I say, hey, whatever, it's fine. Go talk to the experts and find out how to do that. But don't listen to people, even if they call themselves experts. Don't listen to them telling you can't do something. All right? Because you can. You can do what you want to do. All right? And what you want to do is wild if you really go for it. All right? And you help get to know on how to do that from the experts. All right? So your thoughts, they become things. All right? And what you got to do is you got to believe in your thoughts. You got to conceive. Like I said, it's going to take some work here. So you have to conceive your thoughts. All right? And once you conceive, you have these miracle thoughts of what the miracles you can do in life. And you conceive it, then you perceive it. That's kind of like how you think it might work. And then you start to eventually believe it. And then after you believe it, guess what? You're going to achieve it. Maybe not today. Maybe not next Tuesday when you think you really need it. But eventually, you will achieve it. All right? So do the work. Do the thoughts. Your thoughts become things. Right? You conceive it, you perceive it, you believe it, you achieve it, and then you just got to make sure that you're guarding your thoughts. All right? Train your brain. Guard your thoughts. Thoughts become things. And then get out there and ask yourself, what would be really cool to do? What impossible thing would be pretty cool to do? When you think about that impossible thing to do that would be pretty cool, then let's just say, I am possible. And then get out there and do it. All right? It's possible. Everything's possible.
Granddaddy impossible.
All right, next secret, Granddaddy's secret, is the simple things in life are the best things in life. All right. This is often overlooked. Something like a walk. A walk in the park. You'd be surprised how fulfilling that could be and how that could enrich in your soul. When you do something simple, like a walk in the park, admire the flight of a bird. I mean, heck, just us even being born is often a simple thing. The birth miracle is a simple thing that we often forget to appreciate. Again, we're here. It's kind of like a miracle that we're here, and we forget to just appreciate that. Just that simple thing of being alive. We get caught up so often on, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, or I gotta do this. And it's such a pain, and we forget to say, I get to do this. I get to do that. And I get to do this. I mean, that changes everything when you start thinking about simple things. And what happens is many people, they feel that, they have to, it's sad, but they feel like they've got to complicate things. Right? So if they complicate things, they feel like, all right, then I must be important. I must be like intelligent. right? And they complicate things. And you don't need to complicate things. You just keep it simple. And keep things simple. Like I always tell people, I'm just a simple guy. You know, I make mistakes a lot, and I'm just a simple guy, and that's okay. Because the simpleness is great, it's fun, and it's very enriching. You like the simple things. But it's also, because it's simple to do, it's also simple not to do. So most people don't do it. They fail to do it, okay? Another thing I say is find that one person. I mean, relationships are everything. You know, in my book, The Storm, that one person was the former estranged World War II fighter pilot, Granddaddy. You know, the boy found Granddaddy, or maybe Granddaddy found him, I guess you could say. Right? And that was like the one special person that changes everything, changes the way you think, changes what you think is possible, from impossible to possible. You know, I say sometimes it's bringing the invisible to visible. Right? So that one person can change everything for you. So find that one person. You know, again, I mean, people are important. Relationships are important. Right? And until that person pops up, I mean, like attracts like. You're going to attract people that are like you. So until that one special person pops up, some of the things that you can do in life is you can work on that one thing. You know, work on that one thing, whatever it may be. You know, for me, when I was your age, I wasn't really a good student. So my one thing was sports. You know, and I concentrated on sports and got really good at it. And then I started attracting other athletes, other high-quality athletes who were kind of starting to be in my circles. You know, later, when I got into college and the whole school thing, I concentrated on that. I started attracting people into my spheres of, high-quality people, like, educators. So look for that one person and do that one thing that you're really good at, and get better at it, and get better and better and better. And as you get better at it, you'll see some pretty cool things happen. All right, you start meeting some pretty cool people. All right, so again, look for that one person, do that one thing, and you'd be surprised. Just chip away at it, chip away slowly. I did not get to where I am today, like overnight. I'm saying there's no such thing as an overnight success. Just chip away at it. All right, so the next secret is skate to where the puck goes. I'm sure some of you have probably heard of the great hockey player, Wayne Gretzky. Anybody here ever heard of him? Cool, very good. Some of you heard of him? Okay, he's from the old days. But he was a legendary hockey player, right? And he consistently played like better than the best, like pretty much every single night. And then one night after another superb game, a reporter came up to him and said, "Hey, Mr. Gretzky, tell us, you gotta tell us what your secret is. How do you play among the best professional players in the world, and yet night after night after night, you play better than them? How do you do that?" And Wayne Gretzky said, "Well, it's actually quite simple. I never skate to where the puck is. I always skate to where the puck is going. That's what I do. All right? And like life, the puck of life is always moving. All right? It's always moving. So you got to try to skate to where the puck is. You need like the panoramic view. You got to consider, what's the past, what's going on in the present, and what might happen in the future when you make your moves, and try to skate to where the puck is. Now, Wayne Gretzky actually didn't do this on his own. Everybody thinks he coined that phrase about skate to where the puck is. Well, what happens is his dad actually talked about it. And Herb Brooks, from the 1980 U.S. Miracle team, some of you may be familiar with that, right, when they beat the almighty Soviet Union team, he talked too about not skating to where the puck is, right? So none of us are an island, right? We need people, we need help, the power of synergy. We got to do all that stuff, and we just got to make sure we're planning ahead. So skate to where the puck is. Plan ahead, right? Hey, if it looks like it's going to rain, maybe it's going to rain. So bring that umbrella, right? Plan ahead. Right? And remember, the opposite of planning ahead is winging it. And I know everybody here, including myself, does that every now and then. We fall back to that mode because it's just simpler. We don't want to spend the energy to really plan ahead. I mean, heck, I still fight with that sometimes Because our human nature is basically two things. It's to be indifferent, and it's to be lazy, and that's our prehistoric mind saving calories so we don't starve in that next famine. We're still wired like that. There's no famine coming. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to tell my brain, let it go. Stop trying to conserve calories and just let it go and, let me get out there and just do my thing. Stop trying to put me motionless so that, this prehistoric thinking is outdated that we have, which I'll talk a little bit more about that a little bit later in the talk. But, so that's what we always have to fight about. We always got to fight that. Our prehistoric thinking of preserving calories, so don't move too much. Don't move too much, save your calories. You never know when there's a famine coming, so you're going to be lazy and you're going to be indifferent. And I got to tell you, I've done it. I still do it sometimes. I remember when I was your age, when I was in college, there were times I wouldn't study for a test. I would say, oh, I was too busy doing other stuff. And then the next day I'd come in, and maybe not so much in high school, but in college, I'd come in and I'd get a good grade in the test. I'd be like, look, I did it. This is cool. It made me feel special. I did something that maybe other people couldn't do. Maybe they had to study. I don't know. But it wasn't special. It's just an illusion of winging it. It's just an illusion that sets you up for failure down the road. So you always got to work. Everything is work, and that's me. That's part of me. That's so who I am. Anybody who knows me knows that I am like a workaholic, pretty much. I work and work and work, and I have so much effort in my life. And you wouldn't think that I would ever wing it or be lazy or indifferent, but every now and then I am, because it's human nature. And you're going to fight that, all right? So let me give you a quick little story about how winging it can sometimes be a problem. So imagine this. It's a beautiful summer day, all right? And you decide, you know what? I think I'm going to hop in a kayak and go for a little float down this lazy river. And it's going to be fun. It's a beautiful day, little breeze. You're going to float on this kayak. You hop in the kayak, you're going down, you listen to the sounds of nature, the birds, the sun shining, but not too bright, a little bit of a wind, and you're really enjoying yourself. You're kicking back, you're relaxing. You're even maybe chuckling a little bit, saying, oh boy, my friends are missing one of the great times, right? My friends should be here. And you're floating down that lazy river, and everything's good, and you're just loving it. Everything's good. After a while, you say, oh, well, maybe I've had enough. I guess I'll go ashore. So then you start looking around for the paddle ashore, and you realize, oh my gosh, I don't have a paddle. I forgot to plan ahead and put a paddle in the kayak. So, whatever. I'm not too worried about it. Eventually the kayak will float ashore, and everything will be fine. And then I'll get out there and I'll just do whatever I got to do then. So you put your head back down, you're enjoying the day, and then a while later, you hear something. And you're like, what the heck is that noise? You pick your head up, you look around, and you're like, oh my gosh, those are rapids. You're like, I gotta get out of here. You start thinking, well, what am I gonna do? You start looking around, wondering what you're gonna do. And then the rapids are getting louder and more powerful. And now they're so powerful, you can't swim ashore. It's too dangerous to swim ashore. And there you are, stuck in your kayak without a paddle. All because you just didn't plan ahead. All right? Don't get mad at yourself. It's just human nature. Again, we're all trying to preserve calories and trying to, it's human nature to be indifferent and lazy to preserve those calories, so we don't starve the next family, the one that's not coming, by the way. All right? But that's how it is. You're stuck in a you're stuck in a kayak without a paddle because you didn't plan ahead. Right? Guys, we all need to plan ahead. All right? Winging it, not a badge of honor. It may make you feel special, but it doesn't. It's not special. If anything, it's a weakness. When you're just winging it, so you gotta plan ahead, right? Like Gretzky did, skate to where the puck is going, right? So, you guys ready for another technique to help you be more successful? Here it is. This one's cool. All right. Atop of planning ahead, there's a whole other level. It's called a mission statement. And when I was your age, I wrote myself out a mission statement. And guys, I had a lot of things working against me. All right, so I planned out this mission statement. And in the mission statement, I put down the kind of person I wanted to be. the kind of things I wanted to do, the goals I wanted to accomplish. And I thought about the people that do those things, those kind of people, and I said, like, what would they do? What would they want? What would they say? What would they think? And I tried to include those things in there, right? And I use details because that's like the fuel, right, of imagination. That's what gets things going. I put power words in there, emotional words, maybe some of the nicer things in there that I may want. Maybe if I keep doing all this stuff and kind of get that success train moving and build that momentum, maybe down the road I could have like some nice things, like a nicer car or maybe a house, all that stuff. And I read that mission statement every single morning when I got up first thing, and every single night right before I went to bed, to like pre-program my mind, my subconscious mind. So then I was sleeping, I was kind of thinking about the stuff without even like knowing that I'm thinking about the stuff. But I'm thinking about this stuff as I'm sleeping, you know what I'm saying? And wake up in the morning, I reinforce it by reading my mission statement again. And I used to run out and do my paper route, the Hartford Current, right before school. So run out and I visualize this stuff on my mission statement. And I gotta tell you, almost everything in that mission statement came true for me. Right? I mean, for me, most of it was simple stuff. Again, I wasn't a very good student, but I was a pretty good athlete. So a lot of the things I put on that were like athlete things. Become captain of the football team, win a state championship, become captain of the wrestling team, win a state championship. Like those sort of like simple sports things, took up some of my mission statement, and those things came true, along with a bunch of other things. Came true for me. All right, so it's a simple thing to do. It doesn't take a lot of time to do a mission statement. And it only probably takes about 30 seconds or 1 minute to read it in the morning, and maybe 30 seconds to a minute to read it at night when you go to sleep. So it's a very simple thing to do for success. But again, it's so simple to do, it's also simple not to do. All right? So here it is, guys. The choice is yours. All these things I'm telling you, you can choose to be empowered and do these things, or you can just not do these things. Be disempowered. And if you choose to do nothing, then the default is whatever life gives you is the default, and you end up in that kayak without a paddle. And the currents of life take you wherever they want to take you. And so you got to program your own life, even if that involves programming your subconscious mind by your mission statement and by visualizing what you want, like you already have it. All right? So again, it's a choice, guys. Right? Skate to where the puck is going. The pain of regret, another one of Granddaddy's secrets. Anybody here like pain? Anybody here like pleasure? Okay. All right, yeah, we all like pleasure, right? So, here's the funny thing. It's all the psychology that drives us. Many times it's called the pain-pleasure principle. All right, some people may call it the carrot and the stick. All right, and many times that pain-pleasure principle, the carrot and the stick, it drives us instead of us driving it. I mean, there's ways, little tricks we can use to use this powerful psychology motivator to our advantage to work for us instead of against us. And what we think? All right, well, I'm going to pick this goal. I'm going to, become, the captain of this, or I'm going to become like, land a great job. Whatever it may be. I'm going to be like a state champ, or whatever it may be. And you would think that that goal of the pleasure that you are going to achieve from achieving that goal would be enough to drive you every single day to get up early and do whatever it is you got to do, whether it's running, whether it's reading, whatever it is. But what we find is that the pleasure principle is actually not as strong as the pain principle. The pain, people try to do more to avoid pain than they do to try to go toward pleasure. Maybe that awesome college want to get in. Well, guess what? You're going to have to study a lot, right? But okay, the pain. My parents are going to get mad at me if I don't get good grades. Right? So that's what drives you. The pain of your parents being mad at you instead of the pleasure of pursuing something. So sadly, pain many times seems to be a bigger driver than pleasure, which it shouldn't be, but sadly it is. All right. So what happens here Some of that pain comes from like the unknown, like rejection. What if I try something new and it doesn't work out? And people laugh at me. What if I fail miserably? What if I ask somebody out on a date and they reject me? And people see that, or they tell people, right? This whole thing about the pain, of the unknown, the pain of rejection, that's basically the equivalent of the saber-toothed tiger jumping out of the bush at us. That's what, again, our minds are wired. Like the prehistoric wiring is still there. We're still afraid of the saber-tooths. Even though the saber-tooths are not here anymore, but they are in the unknown. They are in rejection. And that is what we're all trying to avoid. And we're trying to avoid the pain rather than the pleasure of succeeding. I wish it was enough. I wish the pleasure of succeeding was enough, but many times it isn't. All right? And I say, and people, again, when it comes down to planning, again, if you plan, if you don't wing it, if you understand how the pain-pleasure principle works, and you use it instead of it using you, you can get some pretty cool things in life. You can do some pretty cool things in life. But what I find is that people, they don't plan to fail, just many times they're just failing to plan to do what they want to do and get what they want to get, all right? So there's a thing called the rocking chair test, which is a pretty interesting test. When you're older, getting toward the end of your life, you're sitting on your chair, your porch, you're rocking in your chair on your porch, and you're thinking about your life. What I found, and what the experts have found, is that you're going to think more about the things that you didn't do, the things that you were scared to do, the things that you did not put the extra work into accomplishing when you could have put the extra work into accomplishing. And in fact, the experts have said that, about your age, it's kind of, it might be 50-50. You might have you might think a little bit about the regrets of the things you didn't do, but you're also thinking about how you were scared or how you felt unknown or felt the rejection. But when you get older, when you start hitting my age, and when you get your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and you're near the end of your life, 80% of your pain is going to come from the things that you did not do. Instead of being embarrassed by the few things that you tried that you failed at, or you got rejected at. That stuff doesn't really become important anymore. What becomes important is the regret. You have lots and lots of regret, okay? So now that I'm on this, 80% of the pain comes from regret of things you didn't do, and let's say 20% comes from the embarrassments and things you messed up on. Has anybody ever heard of the 80-20 rule? Okay, the 80-20 rule is a pretty interesting rule where it says, there's a lot of different ways to explain this, but I'm gonna try to keep it real simple. Something like, let's say, 20% of the people control, let's say, like 80% of the world's resources. They get the good jobs, they have the resources, all that. Okay, whereas 80% of the people, have, let's say, the 20% that's left over. Right? And this just goes to so many different things. In a school like this, where you have great students, and almost, great students, if just 20% of the students decide to act up, the school would get a bad reputation that it does not deserve. All right? So that's not right, but that's kind of how it works. Now, but flip-flop that. If 20% of the student body rocked it, in academics, and 80% were just kind of like average, that 20% might give the school a reputation of a powerhouse academic school. And the same with sports. 20% of the athletes, if they excel, maybe they can carry the other 80% that are kind of like average, right? And you can have a lot of winning teams. Same thing at work. 20% can get the projects done, and and the company can flourish. So you get this whole 80-20 thing that's going on. And obviously, most of us are 80%. Because most of us are just like we're average. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. Average is average, right? There's nothing wrong with that at all. But if you wanted to get in that 20%, the thing is, could you? And the answer is yes. You could get into that 20% if you really wanted to. Okay, you'd have to figure out how to do it, I mean, you might have to start reading some books. You might, maybe like the storm. You might have to get some mentors. You might have to start asking people questions. You might have to find people that have gone there before you and ask them what they did to get there. I mean, there's a thing that's, Tony Robbins, the peak performance coach, he always says, success leaves clues. So you look for those clues. And you can work your way into that 20%. The thing is, most of us don't really have somebody telling us how to get there, what to do. So you got to kind of seek it out on your own. All right? You got to seek it out on your own, which involves a lot of hard work and a lot of planning. So you got to do the planning, you got to do the hard work, okay? Now, life isn't fair. It really isn't. We can all sit back and say, so-and-so always gets the good stuff, so-and-so is always lucky, I'm never lucky. And we can always blame this, blame the system, it's their name, it's my name, I'm short, whatever. You can blame it on a million different things. But when you blame it, what you're doing is you're being disempowering. You're disempowering yourself, okay? So you can't blame. Don't blame. All right? If you don't blame, you just take responsibility, which is really just the ability to be responsible. All right? Then you start empowering yourself. All right? It's just so. I want to just pause for a second. Let you think about that. When you don't blame and you take responsibility, things change. You're going to have to work for it, but things change. Okay? So. Get rid of the whole mentality of I'm a victim. Right? No more victim. Victor. Right? Victor. Listen, I could go way back and talk about all sorts of things that made me a victim. Right? But I don't. I try to be not the victim, but I try to be the victor. All right? Hi, has anybody ever heard of Buddha? Heck yeah, Buddha. He's a pretty amazing guy. All right, so Buddha was looking for enlightenment. Here's the thing. The Buddha story may blow your mind. All right, so this is what happened to Buddha. Buddha had all the riches you could imagine. He lived in a palace. He had everything you could imagine. Any desire, need, they were just lavishly taken care of. This guy had the life that most of us dream of. All right, well, one morning, he wakes up early, and he's looking around his palace, and he sees all the debauchery from the night before. And he looks around and he says, you know what? Having every single thing that I want isn't the key to happiness. This isn't doing it for me. I don't know why it's not doing it for me, but it's not doing it for me. So he leaves the palace. He leaves his parents. He leaves his wife, his children, his friend. He leaves his riches. And he just starts wandering out there in the world penniless. Broke for a long, long time, looking for enlightenment, looking for happiness, looking for a state of nirvana. He meditates for weeks at a time, doesn't seem to bring it. He fasts for a long, long time. I mean, there was reports that if you look at his stomach, you could see like his spine, he was so skinny. But nothing was doing it for him. He was just like, I don't get it. I'm like looking so hard for like the state of nirvana, to be enlightened, to find my happiness. And then one day, he's sitting underneath a fig tree. And he's been meditating for 49 days. And then it hits him. And it's almost like the apple that dropped out of the tree that hit Newton, except this time, that gave Newton the idea of gravity, except this time it's a fig tree. And it gives Buddha this simple concept of true happiness is just being content with what you have. No, not coveting what thy neighbor has, not trying to keep up with the Joneses. Just be happy with what you have. You don't have to go chasing what other people have. All that does is spin your wallet and fatten your waistline. You go chasing all those lavish things in life. So just be happy with what you have. I mean, it's a powerful thought to just be happy with what you have. Again, it's very simple. It's also simple not to do because it's so simple to do. I challenge every one of you. Start thinking about what you do have. Start appreciating what you do have. And stop looking over at your neighbor, especially on this whole social media thing. And it just encourages you to look over at your neighbor and say, oh my gosh, they have more things than I have. It's like a pandemic, you know, making us all feel bad. And we don't change for the better when we feel bad. If you want positive change in your life, you want to become somebody who's successful, it helps if you're feeling good about yourself when you're trying to make these changes. They're much harder to make when you're feeling bad about yourself because you're comparing yourself to others and saying, I don't have what that person has on social media. I'm saying, don't go there. Don't beat yourself up there, okay? And while you're at it, pick some goals. Pick some goals for yourself. Again, plan, use that cognition. Pick some goals, but here's the problem. Most of us are terrible at picking goals. We pick goals that are too small. We pick goals that are somebody else's. Again, don't look at your neighbor, look at yourself. Don't let the cognitive misers do your thinking. Do your own thinking and pick your own goals. And I say, when you pick your own goals, this is what I want you to do. I want you to shoot for the stars and miss with the moon. You see, our sun is a star, and it's a lot farther away than the moon. So if you shoot for the stars, you're shooting for something that's bigger and farther away than the moon. And if you hit it, awesome. You're going to have like a totally out of this world experience in life. But if you fall short from shooting for the stars, the sun, and you fall back on the moon, you're still having an out of this world experience. And I think any one of us would be happy to have an out of this world experience. So I say, shoot for the stars, miss the moon, and just remember that if you do this, people are going to say you're lucky. Right? And when they say you're lucky, this is what I want you to say, or at least think in your mind. Right? Well, that's because I created mental luck. Basically, luck is this. Here's the definition to luck. It's not the one in the Webster Dictionary. The definition for luck is this: preparation, meeting, opportunity. That's all it is. When you prepare yourself and that next door of opportunity opens, you're going to be ready to step through that door into the next realm of awesomeness, whatever that might be for you. But if you don't prepare yourself, when that door opens, you don't get it. And then you go, oh, so-and-so was lucky. Right? No, that's a crutch. All right? But don't use that word that so-and-so was lucky. All right, so, I mean, after all, Gretzky wasn't lucky. He skated to where the puck was going, right? But the kayaker was relying on luck. And you see how that worked out, the kayaker, okay? So the harder you work, usually the luckier you become. And remember, the next opportunity could just be right around the corner. Are you going to be ready when that opportunity arrives? Okay, every tragedy includes an opportunity, my granddaddy's secret number 6. Okay, the Dalai Lama, he said that there's basically 2 ways you can go when tragedy hits you. One is it crushes you, and you go into self-defeating habits. The other is you take it as a challenge, okay, and you find the inner strength in you. And the Dalai Lama said, thanks to the Buddha, I picked the second one, all right, to look for the challenge, look for the inner strength. And heck, I mean, guys, I'm a special ed teacher in New Britain and also a history teacher as well. And I know that history is filled with examples of people that did just that. I mean, Napoleon, one of the greatest generals of all time, he had an instructor at the military academy that made his life terrible. Right? And at the end of Napoleon's life, when he's lying there on his deathbed, some of his last words were, I wonder what that teacher thinks of me now. See how he used that as a motivational force to fire himself up? Heck, one of the greatest swimmers of all time, Michael Phelps, same thing. Teacher said, you're probably never going to amount to anything. And that fired up Michael Phelps. Like, I'll prove that teacher wrong. He said, I'll prove that instructor wrong. I'll prove that coach wrong. I'll prove that neighbor wrong. Right? Whoever it is, history is filled with examples of that. Heck, I'm one of them. Right, this guy you see standing in front of you took a terrible situation, used it as a motivating force, and turned it into something good. All right? So when you get lemons, think about making lemonade. Also, I want you to start asking yourself better questions, such as, what else could this mean? If you don't get your dreams, you know, when they don't come true, maybe you're getting your destiny instead. So ask yourself better questions like, what else could this mean? And if you've been knocked down in life, that's okay, because you've learned to pick yourself up. All right, so 10 years from today, we're going to start wrapping this up here. 10 years from today, the difference between you and the kids sitting next to you are basically going to be the books you read and the people you talk to. So what I'm doing is, I'm going to give you some homework. I want you to read as many books as you can. I want you to talk to as many people as you can. Every person you meet can teach you something, and every person you meet, you can teach them something. So yes, I'm saying self-assign yourself some homework. I've done it most of my adult life. I want you to do it, okay? Self-assign yourself some homework. If you don't do this, and you do what everybody else does, then you get the standard education, and you get the standard results. But if you want to climb the ladder, then self-assign yourself some homework. You know, do the work. If you read just 1 hour a day, that's like 20 pages, which could be 7,000 pages in a year. I think in 1 year, 7,000 pages, you could become pretty knowledgeable and pretty good at something, all right? So self-assign yourself some homework. I'm sure that's the last thing you guys probably want to hear, but trust me, it works. If you do what everybody else does, you get what everybody else gets. So step up your game to the next level and self-assign yourself some homework. Plan ahead, do the work. So real quick, here are my granddaddy's 7 secrets. We're here for a reason, so watch out for those cognitive advisors. The simple things in life are the best things in life. Skate to where the puck is going. Remember about the pain and regret, the rocking chair test. Don't forget, it's already in you. Everything you need is already in you. And every tragedy includes an opportunity. And do the work, and you will become successful. Here's my books. I'll be around for a little bit. If anybody has any free time, they can come talk to me.